Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues until the complete revelation of the Messiah, the son of David, Mashiach ben David. And we are continuing on in the Daf on page 63, top of the page. Today's Daf is Samach Gimel with Aleph. The words Bas, Mazga, Chamra, Sharia, V'simanach Yafeh Koach Haben Mikoach Hav. Top of 63a in Tractate Chullin. But the bird called the little wine pourer is permitted. And your mnemonic to remember this is the idiom of the sages: the power of the son is greater than the power of the father. Meaning the larger is forbidden while the smaller is permitted. Amar Rav Yehuda Shekitana riches shake v'sumake sharia v'simanaich murmiza gutze v'samuke asire v'samanech nanus pasul ariche shake v'yiruke asire v'simanaich yirukin pesulin. Rav Yehuda says there are several types of shekitina. The long-shanked red ones are permitted, and your mnemonic to remember this is the Murzema bird, which is similar in appearance and known to be kosher. The little red ones are forbidden, and your mnemonic for this is the halacha that a dwarf priest is unfit for a temple service. The long-shanked green or yellow ones are forbidden, and your mnemonic for this is the Mishnah 56a, innards that have turned green render an animal treifa and unfit for consumption. Amar Rav Yehuda Shelach Zeh Sholedagim Minayam Duchifat Shehodo Kafut Tanya Namihachi Duchifat Shehodo Kafut V'zeu Shevi Shamir Lebeit HaMikdash. Rav Yehuda says, as for the shalach, listed as a non-kosher bird, see Leviticus 11:17. This is the bird that scoops fish out of the sea. The duchifat, see Leviticus 11:19. This is the bird whose comb seems bent due to its thickness. Hodo kafut. The Gemara notes this is also taught in the Braita. The duchifat is the bird whose comb seems bent, and this is the bird that brought the shamir to the temple. As recounted in Tractate Gittin 68b, King Solomon required a unique worm called the shamir to carve stones of the temple. As the verse states, there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in building. 1 Kings 6:7. Rabbi Yochanan ki avicha ze shelach amar mishpatecha tohom rabba ki avicha ze namala amar titkatcha ki harare el. The Gemara recounts when Rabbi Yochanan would see a shalach, he would say, your judgments are like the great deep. Psalms 36:7. As God exacts retribution even upon the fish in the sea. When he would see an ant, he would say, the first half of the same verse, your righteousness is like the mighty mountains, as God provides sustenance for the tiny ant, just as he does for the largest creatures. Amar meimar lakni ubatni sharion shikanai ובתנאי מקום שנהגו לכל האוכלין מקום שנהגו שלא לכל אין אוכלין עטו במנהגת על ימילצה אין ולא קשיא הבעשרה דשכיחי פרס ואוזניה הבעשרה דלא שכיחי פרס ואוזניה. Meimar says the Lachne and botne birds are permitted. As for the sakane and batane birds, in any place that it is customary to eat them, one may eat them. In any place that it is customary not to eat them, one may not eat them. The Gemara asks, is that to say that the matter of whether it is permitted depends on custom? The Gemara responds, yes, but it is not difficult. This place where they are forbidden is a place where the peres and oznia are found. Since they are similar to these birds, one must be concerned that people will confuse them, even though the sakanae and batanae are themselves kosher. That place where they are permitted is a place where the peres and oznia are not found. Amar Abaye, koe v'ka koe. Asi koe v'ka koe. Asiri ka koata sharia. V'marava malku ilava lave v'karule tach vata. Abaye says the birds called kevai and kavai are forbidden, but the kakvata is permitted still in the West, Eretz Yisrael. They flog one who eats it on its account, and they call it veta. Tanu Ravanan tin shamet v'avat shibeofot. Ata omer be'avat shibeofot, o eino ela be'avat shebashirotzim. Amarto, tzei ulmad misholosh esrei midois, she'atoira nidreshes bohen, hadavar halamed me'inyano. The sages taught in Braita, the Tin Shamet, listed in the Torah as non-kosher, see Leviticus 11:18, is the ba'ut among birds. One might ask, do you say that it is the ba'ut among birds, or is it only the ba'ut among creeping animals? The Tin Shamet is also listed among the creeping animals. See Leviticus 11:30. Say, go out and learn from the 13 hermeneutical principles of which one is a matter derived from its context. What are the adjacent verses speaking about? They are speaking about birds. So to here, the word Tinshamet is referring to birds. Davar halamed me'inyano. Okay. Tanya nami gamishrotzim kai gavna tinshames avash bishrotzim ato oimer avash bishrotzim ein o einoi ela bavash boifois amarto seilu man mishlosh esre midois she'atoyre nidreshes bohen davar halamed inyano bameh hakasuv midaber bishrotzim. The Gemara notes, it is also taught in the Braita in this way with regard to the Tinshamet, listed among the creeping animals. The Tinshamet here is the ba'ut among creeping animals. One might ask, do you say that it is the ba'ut among creeping animals, or it is only the ba'ut among birds? Say, go out and learn from the 13 hermeneutical principles, of which one is a matter derived from its context. What are the adjacent verses speaking about? They are speaking about creeping animals. So to here, the word Tinshamet is referring to creeping animals. Amar Abaye, V'avat sheboifois kifuf, Pavas shebishratzim korpadai. Amar Yehuda ka'at, zo hakuk. Rachem zo shirak rak. Abaye says the ba'ut among birds is commonly called the kifof. The ba'ut among creepy animals is commonly called the kurbadai. Rabbi Yehuda says, as for the ka'at, listed in the Torah as non-kosher, see Leviticus 11:18. This is the bird called a kuk. As for the raham, this is the sharak rak. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, lama nikra shmo rechem, racham, Kevin Shibora Rachamim Loilam. Amar of Bibi Barabai. Vihod Yasiv Amide Viavid Sharakra. Kukumiri Di Yasiv Ara Visharek. Also Meshicho. Shinemar. Eshrika Lohem Beakabtzim. Rabbi Yochanan says, why is it called the Racham? Because when the Racham comes to Eretz Yisrael, mercy comes to the world as it appears at the beginning of the rainy season. Rav Bibi Barbai said, and it is a sign of rain only when it sits on something and makes a shirak rock sound. And it is learned as a tradition that if it sits on the ground and hisses, this is a sign that the Messiah is coming. As it is stated, I will hiss for them and gather them. Eshreka. Interesting. Visharek. Atha Mashiacha. Zechariah 10, verse 8. Eshreka lahem bekabtzim. Shirak rak. Sharik. Okay. Amar le Ravad Bashimi lemar baravad idai v'hahud yasiv be karva ushrak v'yasa gelal apsekin moche amar le ahu b'yada have. Ravad Bashimi said to Bar of Idai, but wasn't there a certain Roham that sat on a plowed field and hissed, and a stone came and broke its head? Bar of Idai said to him, that Roham was a liar, and was punished for prophesying falsely. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan Oirev ze Oirev kol es kol Oirev. Lehavi Oirev Ha'im ki lemino. Lehavi Oirev have b'rosh yanim. With regard to the verse, every Orev after its kinds, Leviticus 11:15, the sages taught in the Braita. As for the Orev, this is the crow. When the verse states every Orev, this serves to include the valley crow as non-kosher, and the verse states after its kind to include the crow that comes at the heads of pigeons. Amar mar oirev ze oirev atu kaman kai ela ema oirev ze oirev ukama v'chein hu oimer kevutzosav taltalim shechoros ka oirev ha'im ki chivara v'chein hu oimer umarehu amok min ha'oyer kemare chama ha'amuka min hatzeb. The Gemara explains, the master said, as for the Orev, this is the crow. Is that to say that a particular crow stands before us, such that one immediately knows which one it is? Rather say, as for the Orev, this is the black crow. And so the verse states, his locks are curled as black as a crow. Song of Songs, 5:11. The Gemara continues to explain the Braita. The valley crow is the white crow. And so the verse states with regard to leprosy, if the appearance thereof be deeper than the skin. Leviticus 13:30. And the sages explained as the appearance of an area lit by the sun, which seems deeper than the shade, which appears to cover it. There is therefore an association between a valley and the color white. With regard to the crow that comes at the heads of pigeons, or Papa said, do not say that the Braita means that it comes at the head of pigeons, meaning it dwells with them. Rather, it means that this crow's head resembles that of a pigeon. Tanu Rabbanan haneitz. Ze haneitz leminehu lehavi es bar chiriam. My bar chiria amar Abaye shurikna. With regard to the verse and the nates after its kinds, Leviticus 11:16, the sages taught, as for the nets, this is the hawk. The verse states after its kinds to include the bird called bar hiria. The Gemara asked, and what is a baruch here, yeah? Abaye said, is the bird commonly called a shurinika. Shurinka. Amar Rav Yehuda, Chasida ze zo daya levana. Lama nikasho Chasida? She'oisa Chasida is mechavrasea aufnea ze daya ragzanit. Lama nikra shema anafa. Shemina efet im chavroteha. Okay. With regard to the verse and the Chasida, the Anafa after its kind, Leviticus 11:19, Rav Yehuda says, as for the Chasida, this is the white daya. And why is it called Chasida? Since it performs charity, Chasidut, for its fellows, giving from them from its own food. As for the Anafa, this is the irritable daya. Why is it called anafa? Since it quarrels with its fellows. Amar Rav Chanan bar Rav Chizda, Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Rav Chanan, Berei dirove, Amar Rav, Esrim Amar Oifois to Mainheim, Amar Le, Rav Chanan bar Rav Chizda, Dehecha, I de Vayikra Esrim Havu. Id Mishneh Torah esrim bechad havu v'chitei madaka v'chitei mada u'ketiva b'yikra v'lo ketiva b'Mishneh Torah shedai alayu akati esrin utrein havu. Rav Chanan bar Rav Chizda says that Rav Chanan son Rav says there are 24 non-kosher birds. Rav Chanan bar Rav Chizda said to Rav Chizda his father, from where in the Torah is this number obtained? If you're referring to the list in Leviticus 11, 13 through 19, there are only 20 birds listed there. If you're referring to the list of Deuteronomy 14, 12 through 18, there are only 21 there. And if you would say, add the da'ah, which is written in Leviticus but not written in Deuteronomy, to the others in Deuteronomy, there are still only 22. Amar lei hach yamaravu dimach mishmei darav lemino leminehu hare kanal ba iyach yesim mishes havu Amar Abaye da'a v'ra'a achat hi de'i sal kedai techtartin inu. Rav Chizda said to him, this is what your mother's father, meaning Rav Chanan the son of Rav, said in the name Rav. The phrases after its kinds, and after its kinds, it's different ways of saying it, I guess, that appear in each list indicate additional cases. Here, then, are 4 more. The more objective, so there are 26, not 24. Abaye said the da'ah mentioned Leviticus and the ra'ah mentioned Deuteronomy are one bird. And if it enters your mind that there are 2 different birds, okay, 63b. Mechti Mishneh Torah le'osehu de'asa ma'ishna hacha d'chsiv da'a ma'ishna hacha d'chsiv ra'a v'lo k'siv da'a ela shma mina min ra'a v'da'a achati. One might ask, since it is assumed that the list in Deuteronomy comes to add to the list in Leviticus, what is different here in Leviticus is that it's written da'a, and what is different here in Deuteronomy, that is written ra'ah, and da'a is not written, rather conclude from the presence of each on only one list, that the ra'ah and da'a are one species. Okay, we'll stop here. Very interesting.